She also has a lot of real money experience in fire. Well, it was the same as Richard Johnson. Same ESD as Richard Johnson. I was damn.
Marty?
I do see that many days actually.
I don't remember.
I don't remember, but I think.
Oh, yeah.
That's not right.
All right, as presiding officer, I call this meeting of the Administrative Court of Commissioners to order. Let the record reflect that we are fully present with all 4 members of the commissioners and myself, and that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Has it been posted for such, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. With that being said, we want to acknowledge our guests that are here this morning. Some will be recognized, others will be speaking. We're glad for our dignitaries. Mayors of 2 of our local cities are with us as well. It's the practice of this court to exercise an invocation followed by a pledge of allegiance. If anyone is present and would choose not to participate, certainly feel welcome to step out. Or if you're viewing by broadcast, there's another mayor. Hey, Dwayne, come on in. So we got 3 of our 4 mayors with us this morning. Good deal. If you're not comfortable, certainly feel welcome to step out and then rejoin us once we go back into session. With that being said, the alternating commissioner over the pledge and the invocation this morning is Commissioner Marshall.
Yes, sir, I asked him to do our invocation.
Right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for your mercy and grace you have on us. Lord, we ask that you be with this meeting today, that everything that's done is done within your will. Lord, we ask that you be with our elected leaders, both local, state, and national. Be with this world as we go through times that it can be trying. We ask all this in Jesus' only precious name. Amen.
Salute, pledge.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We will now go into our public comments portion of our agenda, and we invite members of the public to speak to us about certain topics or matters before the court, which is also a disclaimer. The court is not obligated to respond. We may choose to, but don't necessarily have to. So just know that this is the forum in which we can take comments from the public. We have 3 that have signed up to speak before us this morning. Mr. Martin Yan. I've known him from back in the 70s as Marty. Robert Pointer, who's the mayor of Chester, and then Dimp Connor. Mr. Connor and I spoke to each other a little bit earlier. Mr. Yan, we'll acknowledge you first. You may not have signed up first, but we'll acknowledge you first.
Well, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
I was commenting on your
procedures to ban the sale of fireworks in the county because of drought conditions.
Yes, sir.
Mostly what most people do during drought conditions like this is they ban the sale of stick rockets and missiles. Because according to the state fire marshal's office, this is what causes most fires, because they go up and they come back down. And most other fireworks just go up and burn. Number two item is, according to the law, to ban fireworks in the county is supposed to be done before June 15th, according to state law. I know counties have a lot of authority. And the state gives the county authority to do it after the 15th if they declare a countywide emergency. And so according to the state fire marshal's office, you would have to declare a countywide emergency in order to ban fireworks in the county. At our fireworks stand down here at Lee's Furniture, we've already quit selling rockets and missiles, just because it's dry. And I believe it's being safe about things myself too. And I've talked to one of the other fireworks stands, the only one I found open, about doing the same thing. He seemed receptive of it, but I don't know what he's done or not. He had actually talked to his boss before he could do it. But we got rain in the forecast. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about it. I appreciate your time and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark, for your comments. We'll go now to Mr. Mayor Robert Pointer. Mayor, you have the floor.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Last week was a heck of a week for Chester. We had, due to extreme heat, we had part of our roads blowing up. Had to have DOT come out there. We had one truck that hit that pothole because of the, caused by the heat stress and what have you, that literally pulled the front end out of the truck. My fire department rode 5 times in 4 days. My fire department has rode 6 times in this last week, and it's all due to the extreme heat. We've got to give our firefighters a break, guys, and it's common sense that they should not be burning right now. It should be common sense, and no offense, but even fireworks and stuff, like you said, it wants to go up and come right back down. They're subject to catch some of these fields and stuff on fire. I've got a field in front of my house that is very dry, and it'll go up if the right conditions are met. So I am much in favor of enacting a burn ban in the county-wide and keeping Chester under a burn ban for right now. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Mayor. Thank you. Mr. Demp Connor.
Okay. I'm Demp Connor. We have a wholesale firework place and facility. We sell fireworks to the local retailers. The fireworks stands have been open since Friday, but not much business is going on. It's just too hot. And people are waiting to see what the rain is going to do, obviously. We typically sell about 80% of our fireworks on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So we would like to stay open. And the reason being, we think it's going to rain. So, by the way, I'm a full Tyler County boy.
Glad to hear it, Mr. Connor. That never hurts. All right. With that being said, that'll conclude our public comments portion of our agenda, and that'll take us to tabled items. I'm not aware of any gentlemen that are appearing on the agenda itself. So with that, we'll move to the consent. Under consent, we have both minutes and monthly reports. Again, I'm not aware of any action that needs to be taken under the consent.
We do have the 31st.
Oh, we do have some minutes. Good.
May 31st.
Can we get a motion to receive those?
Motion to receive.
Second. And we have a second.
I heard yours, Commissioner.
Bert. So with that, all in favor of receiving the minutes from which date was it again?
May 31st.
May 31st, say aye, please. Aye. And it was unanimous. Thank you. Under the resolutions, proclamation, and order, I would just simply call to your attention, gentlemen, we will address under the order portion of it on items B and C. So there may or may not be any action on this particular Roman numeral 4, but we might be able to address it under the orders under my hand that have been put. Let's go under Roman numeral 5, consider, approve, and informational. And Commissioner Blackshear has the first item.
Recognize volunteer veteran service drivers Jay McIntyre, Ruth Stewart, Brian B.A. Smith, Wendy Atkins, Larry Atkins, and Scott Mitchell for their many years of dedicated volunteer service to the veterans of Tyler County. Put that in form of a motion.
There's a motion with a second, Commissioner Sturt, and we want to do that at this particular time.
Well,
Commissioner
we
Blaine?
can set it,
What's your pleasure?
well, let me ask, are y'all okay with staying through the remainder of court? Are y'all good? Okay.
We do have a request for an executive session. Don't know how long that would be.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, all right. You want to go ahead and pass those out?
Yes, I'd like to. Joe McIntyre.
We want to give you all a round of applause after everyone receives their certificate and possibly a picture or two.
Ruth Stewart. Brian B.A. Smith. Make the introduction. Okay, you good, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wendy Atkins. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Larry Atkins.
You better hug him too.
Appreciate that. And Scott Mitchell.
Stop.
Driving today.
Okay, well, we'll get here.
Mr. DeHaven had his own personal recognition last time, but he's here to
Okay.
support.
That's Louis DeHaven. Mr. DeHaven, good to have you with us. Thank you for your service.
We appreciate you, and I'll get with you after court.
You want to take a picture now? or-
You can. Yeah, let's- Yeah, let's-
I need to give you all the. You want to get a picture?
y'all want to come stand behind us if they can,
Or in front.
We'd like to invite y'all to come stand behind us so we can get a picture. Ken, would you mind snapping a picture in addition to the radio station?
Come on, Miss Martha, you too.
I'm John.
Louis, come join us as well. Good work. Thank you. Thank you all. Hey, Mom.
On three. 1, 2, 3. 3.
360.
How about a round of applause? Thank you, Tristan. Make space. We certainly invite you all to stay with us. There may be some good tidbits that you could take for conversation from your meeting here this morning, but you're certainly welcome to leave if you need to go ahead and do so. With that being said, we'll go to item B, and I bring that before the court's attention under our emergency management coordinator, Ken Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Ken Joe.
Hey, y'all. Okay. As everybody knows, I've spoken to a couple of y'all since we instituted the Garden Band last Wednesday. First, thank you for your responsibility, sir. I appreciate what you're trying to accomplish. I have some recommendations based on where we go from here, and I know there may be still some questions about can we on one of these. Instead of the court going into a extended burn ban today, let the current burn ban expire, it's under an emergency declaration, reissue that if we don't have rain in the next couple of days. There is a prediction for some rain today, it's kind of dropped from what it was last week. And there are some rains being predicted for later this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are all above 50%, which is better than we've seen for a long time. Do not rescind the order to sell fireworks. Just keep that in place and make the firework decision later. It's a separate order. And I will tell you, I learned something last week about fireworks and orders. The judge can do that. It's a 60-hour order. That's all it is. If you want to go more than 60 hours, you have to get approval from the governor. I know, like I said, this is my first burn ban since I've been in EMC, so I learned a lot in the last 7 days. So we make that fireworks call Friday/Saturday to get us through the 4th.
And Ken, the fireworks is only for this, it's not for all fireworks, it's only for the ones that shoot up in the air, is that correct?
Well, now if you do a fireworks ban through the order, it's all fireworks.
But that's the 60-hour deal through the
Yes.
government, okay. And that's on the emergency management side, right, not the court side?
Yeah, 418 side.
Yeah, 418 side, yes, okay.
Those are kind of our recommendations. We let this one expire. We're currently on it, expires tomorrow at midnight. We reissue it, really there's not a stop, but reissue it Wednesday. If the court, for the court to rescind it, we have to meet again. So suppose we did get rain, we did it today, we got rain Wednesday or Thursday, to do a notice, was in an emergency meeting, to do a notice to allow, to take away the burn ban. The court would have to try to meet again. That's why I'm saying, as long as it's legal, I don't want to break any rules, but let this one expire, reissue another one, and then if we get rain, he can rescind the order right now by canceling the declaration. So if we got rain Thursday and Friday, we're under his only order, he can remove that burn ban. So that's kind of my suggestion to the court. Of course, obviously, it's the court's pleasure. But that's how. Any questions?
So the, under 418, a violation of the declaration is like Class B though, correct?
Class C, 500.
On 418, on 352, it's a C. On 418, I think it's 180 days in jail, $1,000 fine.
I'll have to research that.
Yeah.
This is the first one of these I've done since
I think that's right, on the violation of the declaration, the order through the declaration. So now we can on the 352 side or whatever number it is, 050, 082.
We're talking about code, y'all.
Yeah,
Two different sets of code.
two different law books that we can happen under. We can issue that to the court, and you have to have an end date on it.
Right.
And we could put it to the next commissioner's court, and we can also authorize the county judge to, if those conditions go away, where he can sign, he can do away with that order. So either way.
Well, I'm okay with that way. I just didn't want to get a step where we had to get back in the court to get it rescinded. That was my point.
Yeah, the way I read it, and I think Joe reads the same way, we can say, Judge, you have the authority to rescind this commissioner's court order if conditions improve.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Really good.
And then we won't go into an emergency declaration.
Right.
It'd just be on the 352, 082 side. Yeah.
Good.
So there's two different options that we can go. I just
Well, I
don't.
like that option. I think that's a good option, because if it rains Thursday or Friday, which is predicted,
Right.
we can cancel this through his order.
Right.
So,
Yeah, the only other thing on the emergency, on 418, he can restrict all sales on the fireworks side, if we're going there. On our side, we can only restrict fireworks sales up until June the 15th.
okay,
So on the fireworks side, it has to go through 418.
right.
But as the court, we can't do anything for it.
And to me, we pull that trigger as late as possible to try to see if we get rain. I know I was going to firecrackers on America's birthday, just saying. So I think that we can just let that go until we know.
We just need to ratify the declaration of emergency in order to give him authority to issue more orders, right? Is that right?
I have a call into legal. I talked with him first thing this morning at 8, actually before 8. And I said, it's been a few years since we've done this. I said, here's my question. And I posed the question to him. He said, I'm going to have to research it. He said, I don't want to give you a definitive yes or no. He said, and I've been awaiting an email from him. I've not gotten the fact that I said, I want something where I can share with the court so that they'll know it's not just an idea we came up with, but it was within the framework, because there's a sale of and use for fireworks. You can, you can sell them, but that doesn't mean that you can use them. And then in talking to some of my counterparts, they are implementing the restriction of, they call it the sticks and fins. And then Hardin County is requesting, they're not requiring or restricting at this point, but they are requesting that the sticks and fins, the flyers and spinners not be utilized during this particular time frame because of what their drought condition. And they're under the same, they just haven't issued any orders either through the office of the county judge or by the court. But
And I don't think we have the authority now on this. June 15th was our date for the court to do that.
Correct.
In order for something to happen now, it's going to go through 4/18.
Right.
So,
And I think Mike and I even referenced that because at that time, we were all good about the sale of fireworks and the use of it. But everything with the elevated temperatures getting into the hundreds, and I made the comment to Mike, I said, we can always come back as we see that we're approaching this danger type of condition. And I mean, the mayor called the other day, Mayor from Chester, and he had shared with me what he shared with y'all. And of course, we had talked with, Ken and I had been talking about this and watching this because of the KVD indicator. And
where are we at on that? What's our number?
611.
611.
And Ken, if you will, explain the variance there between the 1 and the
numbers.
700. Yeah.
If we're at 0, it would be flooded, right?
Well, I've been giving the example of a 1 to 7 scale. 6 to 700 is 6 on the 1 to 7 scale. We've been hanging at 4 and 5 for a couple of weeks, and I watched this. We get it every day. On Wednesday, I got a report with also some predictions of Friday and Saturday of extremely high temperatures and humidity dropping, which can actually kind of start to exponentially grow your KVDI index. We were hanging around 545, 562, and today we're at 611.
So the higher the number, the drier we are.
Yes.
Okay.
7 to 800 is as high as it goes, and we're between 6 and 7, or that's 6 out of 7 scale to be. So
We're definitely in a very concerning type of condition, but yet we want to be respectful of sellers and users to the extent that it won't put a burden on any of the citizenry or the crops or any kinds of property that's within the unincorporated areas. And the mayor and I, from Ivanhoe, we spoke the other day, and cities, this doesn't involve them. They have their own ordinances. They have their own code, ordinances regarding whether they're do it or not. And so ours is just for the unincorporated areas. And so when Ken and I talked about it this morning, he had been thinking along the same lines. We just allow this current order to expire and see where we are. And one of the other questions I asked legal counsel to give a clarification is how many times can the judge, by his own authority, allow for these orders? Because your checks and the balances is you don't want to get a rogue judge that's just out listening to one person and not feel, imbalanced by the rest of the representatives of the governing body. So anyhow, I just wanted to be sure we got a clarification on that.
Yeah, and that's my thing too, is I think if we ratify the declaration, then that gives you time you can add or retract orders. The declaration is still in effect.
Correct.
And you don't have to do another declaration. I'm not sure if you can on the same disaster, on the 2 days later, do it, after it expires, just do another one, unless we have another type of disaster.
Sure. And we articulated that in the actual order itself by designating the fact that it was a disaster declaration and an order restricting outdoor burning. So underneath that, underneath that disaster declaration, there were things that, we had a visitor this morning that has concerns about his cows, as a matter of fact, just being able to sustain them on their pasture. And he said that, we didn't have a drought conditions declaration to allow him to participate in the agriculture department, which actually, I believe that we do, and because we do.
Because
it's
of our
very
numbers,
specific.
yeah.
Yeah, so by virtue of the fact that, the disaster declaration includes the outdoor burning restriction, which is a part of that, and it's also referencing, down in the content of it. So we went back to some old orders, and then we also reviewed orders of our neighbors around us to the west. The heat has been moving from that direction, and so consequently, we saw Brangelina County and also Polk County had enacted some orders. And so we were just reviewing to make sure that we were in tandem with not only what our citizens and our concerns would have, but also, because the fire doesn't know where the county line is. We could do something and it could create problems with our neighbors, just like what happened to us. Mike, you remember this. I mean, it literally jumped across Jasper County by way of the Natchez and set on the whole east part of the county on fire. I mean, that was pretty treacherous out there at that time. So anyhow, we want to do this right, but we also want to respect as much of the liberties and pleasures of, like Ken's comment, celebrating our nation's first. So it's a work in progress, Commissioner, and I want to get a good clarification with documentation from legal counsel to give the necessary guidance so that we enjoy as much as we can, but then don't endanger any of the county at all. Ken?
If they ratify today, though, court, with the authority you to rescind it at any time.
But under 418, he's got that authority anyway.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Correct.
We're gonna have to give that.
But if we don't get rain this week,
He can reissue the order to carry on for however long.
without a declaration.
No, we have to ratify the declaration, I think. Yes. Once we get on a declaration, then we don't have to meet again on this as far
And
as
that's-
I can see.
Yeah.
You have a lot more options, flexibility, if we're under a declaration. You have a lot more options.
And you were right, the 352 is what speaks to the Class C $500.
Yeah, just know that what I've read is Class B.
Here's a copy of that.
That's under the 418.
418.
Right. Here's the 352. The 418 is a little bit, gives a little bit more information.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, we have a couple of items to address on the agenda. Let me speak to the first one, which Ken has discussed. Okay, under item B, it says ratification of the order to prohibit outdoor burning or the burn ban order will be in effect until rescinded by the Commissioners Court. So that comes before us in that language, and the reason that Ken and I talked about putting it like that is because we were trying to get the agenda out.
Yeah.
And obviously, with the new weather forecasts that were issued on Friday evening, whenever I was doing those, kind of changed the dynamics of it a little bit. So is there a motion for the ratification for the prohibition of outdoor burning for the burn ban to be in effect until rescinded by the court? Now, respecting what you said, Commissioner, that puts it before us, is there such a motion?
So,
Okay, is there a second?
second.
Okay, now we're open for conversation about
Right.
whether to ratify the order or not. And here's the ratification that we would execute. So we have it out on the table. Anything further, Commissioner, that you want to?
Yeah, I like to follow doing this. I think we need to do under 418, ratify the declaration, which has the order in it, and then you can. But it doesn't need to be in effect until rescinded by Commissioners Court. Once we get under 418, you have total control over that. That's the only thing I see. We don't need to meet back as a court. You can rescind it tomorrow.
Correct.
Or whenever it is.
Correct.
We don't have to have an emergency meeting to rescind it or a special meeting.
Sure.
That
Four
would be-
eighteen in the government code
Local
or the health and
government
safety code or, okay.
It's local government code 418. That's where the emergency management side comes in.
And that's
But it also opens up all resources from the state as far as on the drought side.
Yeah.
Water.
And we cited it in the actual disaster declaration. And I'll just brief, a local state of disaster pursuant to section 418.108A, the Texas Local Government Code, and then the state of disaster for the county unless continued or renewed by Commissioner's Court under 418.108B. Number 3 was the 418.108C, which is the declaration of the local disaster, given prompt and general publicity, which we've done through the clerk. And then the item D under the 418.108 is the declaration of the local disaster activates Talbot County Emergency Management Plan. So we've cited all of those 418s, and then we have support additionally, like you keep referencing the 352. Right. So other additional comments? And I think we want to be sure that we understand what we're doing. The ratification as is presented to us is for the order to be in effect until rescinded by the court. So, Commissioner, would you want to amend the motion for that language to say that you would support that under the 418?
Which gives the county judge authority.
Okay. All right. So you're hearing what is requested that is modifying the motion a little bit from what we started on. Now, is there a second to the amending?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Now, with that being said, we can discuss the amendment. Any comments, any thoughts regarding the amendment to identify the language in 418? All right. That being said, all in favor of the amendment, aye? Aye. Okay, and it was unanimous. Now, that takes us to the motion itself for the ratification with the amendment. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, and that was unanimous as well. Thank you, gentlemen. That'll take us to item C, and that's rescinding the current order allowing the sale of fireworks banned on the current fire conditions. And I don't know that we need to beat a dead horse.
We can do it.
Yeah. And it probably is satisfactory for us to just not take any action at this point. But we want to be
take
prepared.
action under the order if you have to.
Correct. All right. Now, that'll take us to item D, which is amend the appendix. And Commissioner Blacksher.
Yes, sir. Amend appendix and the subdivision regulations, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion. Commissioner Sturman,
Okay.
Second.
Guys, in front of you, you have the rate increase, and it's not just Tyler County that's seeing the increase. And from what Jed has reached out to me about on this, they don't want to come back to the table, like with these developments, they don't want to have to get up to the $4,000 mark on these large subdivisions and then, still have money owed. So he wanted to increase that, and it's going to be also, like I said, Polk County. So that would be one thing that I want to amend is the amount to what their tier schedule is on, from what it is now.
Still get their money back.
Yes. And that's the second thing. We need to put language in our regulations on this page. And I don't know how we want to do it. That's why I wanted to bring it up with y'all. And we need to put language in there that they will get money back after their bill is paid. The reimbursement.
When money not used, they get refunded.
Yeah.
What they paid.
And then the last one is going to be, our packet does not have a fronter page. And this is Hayes County and this is Polk County. After speaking with Jed and Don East, Kelly, we need to have a fronter page of some sort to where whenever people come and drop off this information for subdivision in their packet, Jed said to keep the checklist, correct, Ms. Don East?
Right, well, that's all he said he really needs is this checklist, but, what Kelly's been noticing, the checklist makes no reference to the subdivision, the developers. I mean, it's just a checklist and, if.
Really, we
some-
just need something with their name and
Exactly,
Yeah, how to get hold of it.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like, contact information. something that we can attach the checklist to, so that we can, make sure that checklist goes with a certain subdivision or section. Right now, we've got several. And, the one that you have been asking me about, I think filed Thursday, I think.
So can we authorize
Right.
these amendments, or do we need to type them up and bring these back to court? Or authorize? We can do this one for sure, because we have documentation, but what I'm saying is, and I think we could, if we decide on the language, we could do the language for, for them to receive their refund on this. Yeah. But I didn't want to decide it on my own.
It seems to state in there, we recommend the refund policy be stated
Okay.
in appendix Q, so I
But
think
it's
we're,
really R, Judge.
okay,
It should be R.
all right. So, Commissioner, it may be helpful for us to put that for the minute's sake, that we acknowledge that his cover letter indicated that it is intended that it covers
Okay.
item R.
Yes, sir. Well, that sounds good.
Any unused fees go back to the person who paid the fees.
Okay. Everybody tracking with this? Okay.
Sounds good.
Been dealing with it.
And so,
Okay.
so we got that addressed. Now, the fronter page, do we just want to, just put strictly contact information on this page?
Yeah, the second page of the Polk County thing looks like, it has the owner of record, the developer, the architect, engineer, the applicant, the person responsible for receiving communications regarding their plat application. So that looks to me like at least that information.
Yeah.
Where the contact person, the applicant themselves. Any other further information you need, Donnie's location of subdivision?
Let's see, the Hayes County is like a one page.
Yeah, we need to have subdivision name.
Like this new development stuff, I mean, we don't do that, but I mean, is it something that y'all would want to see spelled out?
I think we need to have the
It's in the middle of
subdivision
the
name
page.
on there for sure. Like if we were to use this page back here, I think we need to.
Yeah, use some of that front.
Keep the second page.
Flat name. Flat location.
Yeah.
Plat name, plat location.
Yeah.
Do y'all need the north of, east of, south of, or anything like that?
And the R numbers at the appraisal district, that would be good. Those property numbers that they have, not even at the appraisal district, all property has a number.
Right.
If they could list those numbers, you can pull it up, reference it through there.
Okay, so now when they file this, the R, there's only gonna be one R number, and it's gonna be the developer.
Right.
Okay.
But we'll know where that's at
Oh,
by
okay.
that R number.
So subdivision name, plat name, and location.
Yeah. So then the second page on the Polk County thing, it looks good to me. Got all kinds of contact people and the applicant person. Which might be the same as one of those others.
So we're talking about keeping the front page on Polk County, just taking out excluding just new development.
Yeah.
Take that out, plan improvements, we don't need that, because that's on our checklist.
So really the top two things, is that
And then
right?
the back page.
And then the back page,
Okay.
plat name, plat location.
And I would say include the subdivision name, because in our regulations, it can't be named after another subdivision. Are y'all good with that?
Good with that.
Okay.
And just for clarification,
if somebody buys 100 acres, and sells 5 20-acre lots, they don't follow these subdivision regulations.
Depending on the,
Depending on if they're making any common areas,
Like you what?
common areas.
Oh,
As long as they're just selling the property, it's
property,
okay, right?
parking lot, I mean, like a 10.
Because it's already-
Right, there's restrictions on the number of, how lot of acreage has to be in the number of acres, and if they touch a public roadway already, so there's, I don't think you can just answer that with just that information.
because like that one Buck was looking at, Jed had suggested doing what they call a flag lot. And instead of granting an easement, they actually, it looks like a flag. That property goes to the county road. And that's what sticks with our regulations. That property in the back is accessed by a little strip, on that other piece of property. But it's part of that property in the back. So both of those would have to be,
It's not
Flag
a
lot.
it's their own property, they own that property.
because
They actually own the flat,
The
the
pole.
stem for the pole.
That's right, that is
And it
part of
also gives access to the other lot in the back.
and it falls in compliance with, lit on the county road. Because
Right,
property goes down.
because their property actually, even though it looks like it's a road, it's the pole.
Right.
They call it the flat. The other two have access to the county.
Yes,
road.
But the third one,
'Cause they were
everybody
trying,
included the county.
they were trying to use this easement that come in there off of 1943, and there was issues with that.
And the easement is where you get into.
I mean, what if those people say,
Yeah, potential
You
land
know,
block, that's what Jed said.
potential, nobody gets to their $100,000.
As long as they own property that touches the public roadway, they can get that. They don't fall under that.
So really, technically, if you had property in the back, you could draw those as flag lots, just draw it out of the other pieces of property. As long as it borders a county or state highway.
See, like the piece I'm selling, 55 acres, if I wanted to lot it up, instead of selling it as whole, I could do the back piece as a flag lot that comes all the way out to the highway.
As long as it goes to a public road and it's above 10 acres.
Comes to 92. So,
So that's all you have to do once it's based on.
well, it just varies. I mean,
And also, I didn't have this on the deal, but we also need to talk about the topographic survey that he told us we need to address. We need to really do something with that, and we got the other regulations. We waived it on the Lakeland Ranch. The water, I don't have it in front of me.
Public water.
Yeah, the testing on the public water. It's another thing we need to, look at doing, getting rid of that.
topographic is very, expensive for lack of, there is a word, but, that's just like on the piece that I'm dealing with, if they have to do a topographical on that, I mean, it's only, 15 acres? But it would cost thousands of dollars. But there's ways to get that topographical other than actually performing it from different companies that map the whole county and everything, so.
I mean, I'm okay.
It'll
with
get
this.
easier as we go.
I'm okay with addressing just these now, but we need to for sure have those in our mind to take those and address them.
We're encountering all this at the beginning, but once we get it all in place, it will lighten up on each one
Yes,
of us.
and Jed is compiling us a list
Yes,
of things
yes,
we
very good. And
we
helping.
would do.
Okay, we've got the motion for the amendment of the appendix, and we want to probably articulate very clearly that it's R, section R. Even though in he's referencing is Q, but we want to be sure that we acknowledge that it's in R. So I don't think.
That was a draft agenda, Judge. I didn't know. That was a draft. I just put amend the appendix in subdivision regulations.
Okay, was that the draft? Because the one I
That was,
shows
that-
R.
That was a draft.
This is the draft?
Yes.
Okay, yes, all right.
So, yeah, I called Kelly right after. I was like, I got several things I want to address. So she
Okay.
changed it. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So the things you want to address is the fact that it is appendix,
Yes, sir.
amend appendix R, and then the
For
second.
this, whichever one that's on this sheet, I think it is ours on the fees. We need to address this, what you said, it addresses
Right
that.
there at the very end of that paragraph, see where it says appendix
I'll
Q?
state, yes, sir, policy stated in appendix Q, so that, this is appendix Q.
But it's appendix R,
Well, appendix Q is our application fees that the county keeps. You know, like tier one, $750, tier two,
not the
$500.
engineering fees.
Not engineering fees. And so this is our regulations. And so, and then R
Or is
is,
there two?
is the engineering fees.
Okay,
So that's
so
what
it's
we're
R.
on engineering fees, yeah.
Yeah, so this needs to be reflect R. Okay.
And so somewhere on this appendix R, we want to add a line that talks about allowing refunds.
Yes, ma'am. And he, right here at the bottom, it shows that. That's what the judge just pointed out.
It's right here.
Any unused portion of the
Yeah.
fees.
The
will be-
local
So,
government
pretty
code
much we need to
doesn't
just take
refund
this-
the unused fee.
From right here and put it in our
Language?
language, yes, sir,
On our sheet.
from the tier one down.
So it would read, that the county will refund unused portions of the review fee once the application is approved or withdrawn.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Is that what you wanted to read?
say may or shall.
Mayor
Well,
shall
may is a
refund.
good word.
May refund, yeah.
There may be some circumstances where.
Yeah. You never know.
Put it
May
this
is a
way.
good word.
Okay, just for clarification, so we know what we're acting on.
Okay,
Commissioner, why don't you restate
Okay.
what your request is?
okay, the first one is, I want to amend item appendix R to reflect the increases on, this GLS page to, first tier or non-second tier subdivision, $6,000. Second tier subdivision to $3,000, RV and tiny home parks to $5,000. And I want to insert this language at the bottom, section 232.0021 of the local government code authorizes the county to impose and set application fees. And then also want to insert this language. The local government code does not require refund of the unused fee except in the event that the court fails to take action on the application as required. It is our understanding that the county does refund unused portions, let me take that out.
May
To review.
refund.
May refund unused portions of the review fee once the application is approved or withdrawn. That needs to be in there. Actually, that's just saying that we need to have a policy. So the county may refund unused portions of the review fee once the application is approved or withdrawn. That's what needs to be in there. That's all it needs.
But does that send a bad signal when you say may?
No.
I mean, they're not gonna say, what are you gonna do with it if you don't?
Buck,
refund it?
it may.
But we're not,
Better than not.
we're not required to do it
They're
though.
not required, but okay, so may's a good word.
But I think
Maybe
it's wrong to
does
charge,
not, or won't.
more and then keep it. Okay. So to clarify the clarification, the county may refund unused portions of the review fee once the application is approved or withdrawn.
I'll second.
Okay. So
Okay.
And you repeat all that.
the amended language, as just said, is on the table with the second. Comments or questions? All in favor of the amended language? Say aye. And it was unanimous. Now, that will take us back to the motion to approve this.
Yes, sir. And we also probably need to include this in an amendment as well.
Okay, so it would actually have, what are you calling that?
That
Not a cover.
Cover sheet for our application. We don't have anything that shows who it is. It's just a checklist.
So, in your original motion, you're also saying to include
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
a cover
Include-
sheet.
Cover sheet.
With information.
Application cover.
Yeah, I mean, we can base it off of this. Just have the plat name, action requested, plat location. I don't know that we need, we probably need the plat data
Yeah, I think the flat.
and then the contact information. We can base it off that, just take the,
That's Polk County.
yes, this is Polk County's, just take off new development and then planned improvement.
Okay.
And I put that in the form of a motion to have a cover
So
sheet.
the actual motion is on the table, but you're saying to include
Yes.
with that.
Second.
So we've heard the amendment, we've approved it, we've got the motion on the floor, all in favor, aye. Okay. And it was unanimous as well. So I think we skinned that bear.
That may work.
I think we're good now
Okay,
for this one.
Commissioner, please continue with item E.
Okay. Using Goodwin, Lassiter, Strong to review all applications for Lakeland Ranch subdivision for compliance with the Tyler County subdivision regulations. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
There is a motion with second, Commissioner Sturr.
We've had to come to court every time to get them to do it. Let's let them handle all of Lakeland Ranch.
Okay, any additional comments? Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And it was unanimous. Item F,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Yes. Payment to Goodwin, Lassiter, Strong for review of all applications for Lakeland Ranch. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
There's a motion second, Commissioner Sturr.
Do we have any idea about what that cost is, Joe, or is it not?
Well,
No yet.
on the Lakeland Ranch, well, it averages 2,000 to 4,000, but we're not, the developers are paying that. They've already paid like $12,000. So that's why we got that language in there, because right now we'd be paying $12,000 if we hadn't put that language in.
But we do owe them some money
Yes, we do.
before we had that other information.
Is this the current one for $1,400?
That is, section 4 just came in.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So this covers all of them.
Okay. Any additional comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously. That takes us to item G, Commissioner.
Okay.
You're on a roll.
Approved Lakeland Ranch Section 4 application. I put that in the form of a motion.
There is a motion. Commissioner Sturr has the second as well. Comments, questions? So approval on Section 4 application, all in favor, aye? Any opposed? And there was none, heard unanimously. Item H, I would defer for any action on that, gentlemen. There is a need for us to go into executive session under Texas Government Codes 555.07119A2 and 551.074 regarding the matters that are referenced for consultation with legal counsel. I would request a motion and a second for that action.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion and second for executive session. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, and it is unanimous. Except for Donnie's, all of the voting members of the court will be in executive session. And Rossi, if you will, just for clarification, confidence, so that we can talk. Thank you, dear. Okay, so Bobby, if you will, just watch this other door here, because the information in executive session is sensitive. Okay, all right.
Well,
Sure nobody's
can
in
I
it.
ask you about this while we're in transition? So this order, it just reflects that 352, it doesn't reflect the 418.